Hey guys, what is up? This is Matt. Today it's me once again. Welcome back to another movie review, aka After I Saw. This time it's going to be on Godzilla Minus One. Now, this is the latest Godzilla film, not to be created by Legendary, but the people who brought Godzilla to the big screen in the first place, Toho. This is their 33rd Godzilla film, and believe it or not, this is my first Godzilla film of theirs that I have seen. That's right, I never watched any of the previous old-timey Godzilla films when I really should have, but in this film, we follow a young man who has pretty much lost everything, and tons of people have been going through a lot of tragedy because there's a threat in Japan and pretty much the area of Japan because there is a monster unleashed upon the world, and that is, of course, Godzilla. Basically, it's what you expect from a Godzilla film, but what you don't really expect is characters that are actually worth rooting for. I mean, sure, there might have been in the past, I don't know, because I haven't seen every single Godzilla film out there, like I mentioned before. I didn't even see a trailer or any footage of this film. All I know is that I saw a poster for this movie and I was all like, wow, is this actually a wide release? And yeah, it is. I saw this and the film was full of people. I didn't see the IMAX early screening, which honestly, it would have been a better experience if I did see it in IMAX, but nevertheless, it was still a really great experience. In fact, while I was watching this movie, I was all like, okay, there's bound to be a flaw in here somewhere, because this movie might just be just another creature feature, maybe a fun one, but I didn't really expect a whole lot from this movie, but wow, this movie gave me so much. And as I was watching this movie, I was really connected, not just with the movie itself, but with the characters. I actually really cared for the characters in this movie, which is something that I did not think I would actually be seeing myself actually doing while watching this film. Because Godzilla, you just came for Godzilla. But this movie, Toho managed to go all out and actually, bring development to some of these characters. Like, not only does it focus on the main hero, but of course, we also get some characters, like during the fight sequences, that I actually found, like, really worth rooting for. Like, the main character is dealing with this woman who's taking care of this baby who isn't actually her daughter, but it's pretty much a family development not involving marriage, or it's kind of like Spy Family, except, they're not actually, pretending to be a family. Also, the action. You came for it, and that's exactly what you got. There is quite a bit of it, though not as much as characters. There is more focus on the characters, but when Godzilla is not on screen, it didn't really bother me. Because I liked the characters so much, it had me excited for when Godzilla showed up. And while he doesn't show up as often, I still feel like he manages to deliver. I mean, the movie makes a great first impression when it starts up, and gives me exactly what I anticipate throughout this movie. Like, the movie has a lot going for it, not just in its scenery and its world, but of course in its characters, like I mentioned before. Even the scenery is great too. And the way Godzilla looks too, wow. It's probably one of the best designs for Godzilla yet. Like, when his back and his scales just, like, come out, it was just so cool. And the score, too. The score is definitely going to be familiar to people who have grown up with the classic Godzilla films, including one theme. Like I mentioned before, I haven't seen any of the older Godzilla films, but even I recognize one of the themes that they did use, which I found to be really cool and definitely provides some good fan service. And it's not really one that just throws a bunch of nostalgia in your face like so many other films. No, this is a film where Toho just tended to take their time crafting, a cool monster, while also having these characters that I actually did tend to care for, while also captivating the story really well to just have it all. It's not just like some generic B-movie monster film. It's actually a film that I actually found myself enjoying almost every single bit of. In fact, I feel like I did, because it was just really hard for me to just find complaints that I had with the movie. The only thing is that there was a dream sequence that I felt was a bit unnecessary, but that lasted like 30 seconds. It didn't hurt anything, because, hey, nothing stopped the movie from just being a flat-out good time, not just with Godzilla himself, but with its characters. It didn't bother me that Godzilla didn't show up as much, but hey, the movie managed to have so much going for it that it honestly felt like Godzilla was in the movie just enough for me to be fully entertained. And people have been loving this movie. Like, there's just been so much acclaim about this movie. I rarely heard a bad thing about this one. Like, the main gripe I have with Legendary Pictures' Godzilla franchise is the fact that there weren't really any characters worth rooting for. Like, that's my biggest problem with Godzilla King of Monsters. But this pretty much blows all of those movies out of the water and just shows fans what a true Godzilla movie is meant to be like. I mean, I enjoyed the 2014 movie and I enjoyed Godzilla vs. Kong, but this movie I feel like manages to get every single piece right. They managed to bring Godzilla up at the right time, but also managing to bring its characters in. It just, oftentimes, it kind of reminds me of Train to Busan. Like, there are times in the movie that definitely packs in some emotion, though probably not as much emotion as that film, but the movie definitely provided enough of it for me to fully care. And I really liked the way it ended. I thought it had a really solid conclusion, which I'm not going to spoil. I shouldn't spoil anything for you Godzilla fans out there. Just watch the film and you'll truly be pleased. And Godzilla Minus One was a massive surprise. It came out of absolutely nowhere for me. Like, I didn't know a whole lot about this movie, except for like a few weeks before its release. And it just made a huge impact on me. I might just go and watch those other Godzilla films that so many people talk about. This was a great start for me, and it's a great start for newcomers as well. It's roaring with great action, and it has characters worth rooting for, worth caring for, a captivating storyline that just never seems to feel dull. This is a film that just manages to feel like it succeeds in every part of its runtime. It's probably one of the best films I've seen this year. It's one of the most fun I've had at the movies. You just need to get yourself a bucket of popcorn, though I didn't get any popcorn, but it would have been more fun with popcorn. But I still got my money's worth watching this movie. Fans will be pleased, and maybe action fans in general will be pleased as well. I was pleased, and I just found myself having more than just a roaring good time. I found myself watching a work of art. When I got out of the theater, I was all like 4.5, definitely. But like I mentioned before, as I was just digging through this movie, I just couldn't find anything to fully complain about. So that's why it gets a perfect score. Like, wow, this movie was a blast. You definitely need to see it. I'm glad people are supporting it. Hopefully it does well this weekend. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Word out.